Good morning again, and I'm just so delighted to see all of you here and to see your support of all the work that is going in this field. And before I start, I just want to thank the conference sponsors. We have EERE, the Institute for Scrap Recycling Industry, and their brilliant technical gurus there. Dave Wagger is here. What a fantastic organization, EERE. Not only has been a wonderful member of REMADE, they were also part of developing the vision for REMADE and developing that proposal that led to REMADE. So thank you, EERE. The other sponsor is Davy's office, and a lot of people, when they ask me about what is circular economy, I just point them to Davy's office website. Fantastic visionary company. They have a video there on circular economy that really shows how things get done and how actually that the full system is implemented in the furniture remanufacturing industry. And they're Bill Davies, the CEO here, and Sean Davies hiding here somewhere. So here they are in the front here. So thank you. Thank you for your support. And also, Davies' office has been a member of REMADE from the beginning, and also we're some of our founding members. The other sponsor is Rochester Institute of Technology, my home university. And of course, this is where it all started. And we have a big team here from RIT that is helping. I also, again, thank the Department of Energy, EERE, for really making that dream of establishing an entity that can do this in the U.S. and leapfrog in many of those areas in circular economy possible. And of course, we couldn't have done this without my wonderful partners, Ellen MacArthur Foundation, who's their visionary leader, Ellen MacArthur, and the brilliant CEO that you will hear from right after I finish as well is Andrew Morley. So again, thanks to our sponsors, and it's wonderful to have you helping us moving forward. I also want to thank the National Science Foundation. They were extremely helpful in supporting many junior faculty and graduate students, the future of the field, to attend this event. So thank you, NSF, Bruce Kramer and Kershit Cooper, and Linda Molnar is here as well. We were just talking a few minutes ago, so thank you to the National Science Foundation. All right, so with that, I think my job is to tell you a little bit about REMADE Institute and some of the structure that we have at REMADE, and we can shift to the slides. So we started a little bit, we're a little bit behind, but we'll make up for this time as we go. So I think we're talking here, preaching to the choir here. We're all familiar with the challenges related to material consumption. And you can see here, as you can see the material consumption moving up, you can see that the material productivity actually, unlike what a lot of people think, is actually not moving in the right direction. You would expect the material productivity would also increase, but there are a lot of reasons for that. But the bottom line, I think, what I wanted to show you here is some of the rationale that led to the creation of REMADE, not really getting into the details here. We're all familiar with the continuous increase in natural resources. By the way, this is from the panel I serve on with United Nations Environment Program, IRP. So this is the panel data here. But you can see that the rise of material consumption, and with many developing countries adding more stress in the system here, as well as also the fact that material productivity is actually not moving in the right direction. And the other thing also that, and again, a lot of that is just highlighting some of the rationale that really got the U.S. government, the Department of Energy, to really think about, we got to do something in this direction that can result in some positive change. So you can see here on the left-hand side, we're talking about the energy consumption, and the industrial sector by itself is responsible for about 33% of the total U.S. energy consumption. In the CO2 emission, we're talking about 30% of CO2 emission coming from the industrial sector. So you can't ignore that side. We can't reach that goal of 2050, zero emission by 2050, without including, a lot of innovation and a lot of changes to that side, and that's very important. And I think that's what some of the rationale that led to the thinking that we need to establish a national institute that actually focus on this area. And it's a different kind of structure that I think we believe is just was the right structure. So REMADE is as a public-private partnership, and our focus has been reducing embodied energy and decreasing carbon emission. That's where REMADE comes from. So reducing embodied energy and decreasing carbon emissions. So that's really the goal that we have. But we are what I always say, that we're the how-to institute. You go to a lot of events and you realize that the move to circular economy is so important and critical and something that we all need to move in this direction. The question after that, when you buy into that, is how do I get there? What's next? And this is really where REMADE comes in, is really how to achieve that and how to make changes. I was interviewed by a TV station in Las Vegas at one of the big conferences for one of the industry sectors a few weeks ago, and they asked me about my message. I said the message is that coming up with a lot of creative solutions based on what we know today isn't enough. We really need to push the envelope. There is a lot of innovation needed to make sure that we actually achieve the goal. So we're focused on early stage R&D, and we're focused on taking that all the way to implementation. So for example, and this is very uncommon, a lot of investment in R&D has been going toward new product development and new technology for new product. Not much has been emphasized in this area, and if the program that existed, not just in the U.S., across the globe, primarily were fragmented and focused on a single focus area or something like that. So here we're looking at a system approach. We're looking at expanding recycling, recovery, remanufacturing. Let's see if I can go back here. Oh, it works. So remanufacturing, reuse, those areas that through innovation, through technology, we're looking at reducing primary material consumption, increasing utilization of secondary materials, lower consumption and emission of virgin materials. And also we're looking at achieve cost parity between recycled materials and virgin materials. So if virgin material is a lot cheaper than recycled material, we're not going to make a lot of progress soon. So it's important to always have that in mind. And that's some of our goals. Now, how do we do this? Here's the process. And I apologize for our members here because you know all about this. We developed a roadmap. We developed an initial roadmap that took us a while. We wouldn't do an RFP or anything until we have a solid roadmap. So the roadmap is what guide us in terms of our research investment and our program investment. So it's a long cycle, develop the roadmap. Based on that roadmap, we identify national needs, national priorities, and that's what we focus on. So we focus on things that have tangible impact on our metrics, the national metrics that we have. And this is really the side of REMADE that I love, because we are very strategic, and anything that we fund, we have an impact calculators. Our members know that very well. And based on that, we develop the RFPs, and we judge the project based on their value and their potential impact at the national level. Projects are selected. We update our technical performance metrics based on those projects, and then move on to update the roadmap and look into what else can be done. And we have TPMs that are was extremely ambitious, and we thought they were just hard to reach at the beginning, but we took that challenge, and it's just amazing when you put effort in this area of how much you can actually accomplish. So we're doing extremely well against those metrics. So now I always said this story, and my colleagues, my brilliant colleague at REMADE core team here, it captured my words about what is the unique REMADE philosophy here. We bring the brightest mind to really work on those very high-level national problems that we have. We're guided by the national priorities. We are addressing industry need. We're an industry-led institute. Our members from industry is a significant number, is I think over 90 members from industry, 42 from universities, 6 national labs, and 32 trade associations, like the wonderful people at EERE, for example, that are involved in making decisions and deciding on our direction. We use system-level approach, and we always look at a path for scale-up and implementation. And that's really the nice thing about this approach. I mean, I am a strong believer that this is the way things should be done, that public-private partnership, because that's how you can ensure that you're moving in the right direction and able to get things done. So now, as I said, my job is to tell you a little bit more about REMADE and explain to you why I am always excited when I talk about REMADE. In all of my years working in the field, there is nothing that I have ever done that come close to what we're doing at REMADE in terms of making an impact and really bringing amazing people from around the country working together in this area. I received an email, and I wouldn't mention from who this morning, that just brightened my day. This my colleague from one of those great companies. Her description of yesterday, she said it was innovative and inspiring to listen to some of those presentations, you know, and it all makes it worthwhile when you hear that actually a lot of ideas that all of you have shared are received well by people who actually like to make changes in this area. So REMADE is a public-private partnership. The funding comes half from the government and half from our members, half of our partners. We work on technology development. We have major emphasis on workforce development. My wonderful friend, Andrew Morley, always remind me of upstream. Think of design, because that's where we can make big difference, as we all know. And circular design is one of the really big focus for us. Demonstration and implementation is really a focus for us going forward, and making sure that a lot of what we do can be scaled up, can be economical, can be implemented. So when we started in 2017, you can see here we had a number of believers, and many of them, like Davy's office and EERE, are here. And by 2020, our first full year of operation was 2018. And we started with just a wonderful organization that believed in the vision and supported that vision. By 2020, we really have grown drastically and added a lot of fantastic members. And we actually, when people try to join REMADE and we don't see a good fit, we tell them that, you know, that where do you think you're going to get benefit from this? And we try to make sure that the people who are in REMADE are the ones who really have strong linkage and can get a benefit from REMADE. Now, today, you can see the member has gone over, my friend John Crickle, who's heading our membership and workforce development, always make a liar out of me. I would say not 190 member, and John would say, no, it's 191 now. So I think the last number I got from John was 190. So, and continue to grow. And this just great organization with great interest and also contribution in the field, and that's really, it's really what makes things happen for us. Now, the industry sectors, we're focusing on technology. There are many technologies that we develop are cross-cutting, so it is not related to one specific industry. I know I talked to my colleagues at Boeing who are here today about how many of the technology that we develop in metal recycling and many areas are related to their industry, for example. So we have from packaging to transportation to electronics, to plastic, to construction sector. So we relate to a lot of sectors, and we have many of those sectors are represented by our membership, which I think, again, it adds a lot of value because they see, you know, a lot of technologies that are cross-cutting. So, as I said before, we have we call it the hub, the knowledge clearinghouse. This is the conference is a product of that, the dissemination of what we do, and feeling that we need to make sure that we help lead a lot of the development in this area and inform a lot of people. But we have, at the bottom we have research and development, we have workforce development, we have demonstration and implementation, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we have large-scale initiatives. So this is kind of, now after years in existence here doing this work, I feel like we have now reached the point where we can do that. And I'll tell you, for example, I'll give you some example of that large-scale initiatives that I think are just fantastic and great potential for us in the future. So a lot of people can tell you that we do great work and a lot of exciting development, and I give all the credit to the wonderful people actually who work on this project, our members, our teams, and I hope you had the chance to see the posters yesterday and listen to some of the presentation. Those are really people who make things happen, but just a few examples of some projects here that just give you an idea about some of the science that we're working on that typically you will not find investment in. Again, we say that a lot of work that we do at REMADE is that we focus on challenges not a single company, not a single organization can do it on its own. So we tackle a problem that are big enough, that have big impact, that needs a lot of different thought leader and different expertise to solve. So this one here, for example, if you're familiar with from a repair side to remanufacturing, taking a lot of electronic boards, and remanufacturing, the philosophy is there is that you disassemble everything to the component level. Well, you can't do that with circuit boards that would have a long life cycle. So as a result, when you get a circuit board back, you need to identify if there is a defect there and where is that defect, and is it something that can be addressed, or this is end-of-life board. So this is a project that CoreCentric, and I know CoreCentric is here, just a wonderful visionary company, RIT and Caterpillar, worked on, and that is really a fantastic project looking into how we can reliably and cost-effectively locate defects in printed circuit boards that limit the remanufacturing and reuse of those components. Some of those boards are very expensive, and that really results in that second life cycle and all of this once you actually have the technology to determine if there is a defect or not. This project actually, and I don't want to say too much about it, but it's moving forward beyond REMADE now to do that for more types of circuit boards or more electronic product to help in the commercialization side, and we're delighted to hear that our partners are taking this forward, doing more work with it. Dynamic cross-linking to enable recycling that related to shoes manufacturing, and this is again, I can tell you a lot about this project, but actually the best way to find out is that you go to the REMADE website. There's a description of a lot of this project. There is the abstract of the project, and many of those projects are also presented here. This is called the TIC Summit and Conference because it used to be a TIC Summit just for REMADE member, and we opened it up to non-members as well. So you can see here the manufacturing processes for shoe. The soles of shoes there generates up to 30% scrap, and this is a process to develop first commercially scalable process to enable recycling and of that scrap for really upcycling use. The other one is food packaging, we call the film and flexible. That's the most growing part of that packaging side that typically result in a lot of challenge and contamination to the recycling stream, and if they make it to the recycling machine, they gum up the machine and result in significant challenges. And all I can tell you is that the technology that the teams in this area. We have multiple projects in this area, extremely promising, and they are basically working with industry. The beauty of what we do is that there is an industrial partners in a lot of those projects, so they are making that to the demonstration, implementation, to ensure that we can recycle many of those materials that we don't recycle today. This is the electric vehicle recycling. We have a project with one of our a company in California that repurpose and remanufacture electric vehicle batteries. And we have basically a robotic arm that actually, through automation, that allow the process to be much more efficient, faster, and safer for the employee as well. So the scale up for them is a huge issue with the rising number of electric vehicles. So with that, I think I also want to share with you this project, which is for the ones who are not chemical engineer here, metal recycling using gas-assisted microflow solvent extraction. The bottom line is that they deal with a lot of extraction of precious materials that in the electronic product in a much more efficient and economical way. This project actually has been licensed to one of our members, actually. So the university that developed Virginia Tech licensed it to one of our industrial members who's taken that forward, which is really kind of the goal for us, is to see our project moving in this direction. I'm going to skip through some of those because I think that you got the point into the work that goes on here, and you can read a lot more on the website. I talked about large-scale initiatives, and large-scale initiatives is really a growing area for us. We reached a point where we can do that. So we do everything with a lot system analysis at the center. So our large initiatives are focused on plastic recycling, circular design, digital remanufacturing, where we modernize what happens in the remanufacturing world, full EV recyclability, and MRF NextGen, material recovery facility of the future. I'll give you an example of MRF NextGen. So to us, we have done a lot of work in the material recovery side. The large initiative is where we connect the dots. It's that we all put all those pieces of that puzzle together to do something far bigger and trying to revolutionize what we do in this area. So just one example here from the initiative, looking from the novel sorting technology used. We funded projects in this area, the contaminant removal, they're using AI and machine learning in addressing a lot of material separation and issues related to material recovery. And a lot of projects looking at low-cost ways to improve material recovery, to novel waste processing methods, to condition assessment, to allow us to recover valuable material from that stream. So this is where we connect the dots, and this is where we're moving now after we have over 5 years of development. So we have a lot of projects, I think 29 projects related to MRF, and this is how we connect it. So we have a big objective here that to really revolutionize what we do in a MRF facility, where we only about less than 10% go actually to those facilities. We want to increase significantly the material that go into that material MRFs, and increase significantly the sorting methods, the recovery, and the efficiency and the economics of those operations. In order to do that, we have to involve all the stakeholders, and that's what we're doing. Now, my last slide is to tell you that we are out there trying to really bring transformational technology to the field. So if you have an idea, we have an RFP in the street right now. This is the 20 million. I guess we try to use as big of a font as we can, so that's why you don't see the N at the bottom here or at the top here. But it's a $20 million RFP that's in the street right now. Letter of intents are due on the 27th of this month. So if you have an idea and you identified a partner and you think it's going to make an impact, look at our impact calculator on our website and talk to us. My very smart CTO, Magdi Azar, who you heard from yesterday, is here, and he can answer any questions you might have. But we're looking forward to get a lot of letter of intent for this RFP. again, we put significant investment just to see if we make a difference. So with that, I forgot to mention the workforce development. My colleague here, John Crickle, will not be happy with me if I don't mention just the fantastic work that's done in this area. We have certificates, we have courses. It's free to all of our members. As a not-for-profit, public-private partnership, we're doing everything we can to really help and serve our members.